One of the things that I find that is the most important to any person, Jew, non-Jew, is that everybody has a very deep part inside of them that they're not really happy. They're not happy with something. Something's bothering them. Yesterday we spoke about that right before the coming of Mashiach, then the Kadosh Baruch Hu is putting pressure on everybody. He's pushing everybody to a wall, so people will not be comfortable, so they'll start screaming something. I mean, when we have problems, then I try to find a solution, and when I can't find a solution, then at the end of the day I scream to the Master of the Universe. So yesterday we spoke about, some of you were there, that right before the coming of the redemption, right before Mashiach is coming, Kadosh Baruch Hu He desires us to already yearn for the coming of Mashiach, so He's putting problems on everybody. And everybody is dealing with some type of a problem. One person has a problem with his marriage, one person can get married, another person has a problem with a livelihood, another person has a problem with a sickness. Everybody's dealing with something in this world. The general idea is because the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Master of the Universe right now, wants us to scream already for the coming of Mashiach, because if I can't find a solution to my problem, then eventually I will turn to God. But more than that, even if you move that aside, we're all dealing with some type of a problem that every person deep down inside is not 100% happy. Any person you'll point on right now and you'll tell him, are you 100% happy? Are you 100% content with your life? You satisfied with everything? Most likely, most people will be like, no. I mean, maybe I have a good job, but I have a bad relationship. Or maybe I have a good relationship, but I don't have a job. Or we constantly have something that is sitting on our heart, and more to say, in our heart, in such a way that is giving us this, in Hebrew they say mu'aka, something that's ma'ikalai, that's a burden on me, something that is making me not happy. Unfortunately, most people, they're dealing with a whole list of them, not one of them. The point is that besides that the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants us to demand the redemption, and you know, this is the most important topic, and some of you got the zchut, the merit to listen to it yesterday. If you weren't, then go on my website. There's plenty of videos that I'm referring and talking about the coming of the redemption, because I constantly keep saying, people think it's a joke. When you talk about Mashiach and you're talking about the redemption, people think it's like a fairy tale. People tell me, it's just an invention to keep everybody, to have hope. But the reality is that the coming of the Geulah, as crazy as it might sound, it's real. 3,300 years ago, there were a bunch of Jews like us in a different city, not San Diego. The city was called Mitzrayim, just a different country. They had big cities like here, they had a Los Angeles, they had a New York, and it was called Mitzrayim. And they were stuck in exile, and they were slaves. And they weren't only slaves, we're looking at the book of what we read in Pesach, the Haggadah, and we see pictures of Egyptians whipping them, and they're building pyramids. So we have in our mind this prehistoric land, and a bunch of people building pyramids with bricks. But the reality is that besides that they didn't have iPhones, everything was the same. They had different clothes, they didn't have cars, but it was the same thing. They had houses, they had families, they had relationships, they had jobs. The jobs were slavery. So yes, the story itself in the Torah actually happened. But if you take the context out of the story, and you start analyzing the metaphor behind it and the hints behind it, there were people like us. And they were stuck into slavery. And there was, when the Torah is talking about the state where they're in, it says that they're avdu b'parich, hard work, which we work too. We also have avodat parich. I don't know anyone who sits at home like this for 2 hours and money just comes into his bank account. Even though they advertise it on the internet, work from home, make $5,000 a day, it's all nonsense. The reality is that each and every one of us, we work real hard in our job. Whether it's 8 hours a day, whether it's 10 hours a day, whether I'm commuting another 3 hours, our jobs are hard. I don't know anyone, very few people, after a long life of hard work, they reached a point that they maybe have a business that is bringing income, but they're still working hard. So the same thing. They had avodat parech. Avodat parech, it means very hard work. We have very hard work. And then it's talking about the slaves there. They worked bechomer ulvenim. Chomer is material. Levenim is bricks. So we have the exact same thing. We are slaves to chomer, to materialism. I'm totally a slave to materialism. And a new phone comes out, I have to get the new phone because it has a little new button in it. And my car lease is over, right away I have to get the next car and it has to be a nice car because everybody around me has a nice car. And my clothes, they have to be a certain name tag because I can't go with something that is no name tag. How am I going to look in front of my friends? And I'm constantly running after this materialism, and my house has to be nicer, and my car has to be nicer, and everything has to be nice, which I'm not saying it's bad to have a nice car and a nice home. There's nothing wrong with that. But not when you're a slave to it. When it becomes like too much and you become a slave to materialism, then you lose your freedom. There's nothing wrong with having nice clothes, and there's nothing wrong with having a nice car or a nice home. But there's a certain line that when you cross it, then you become a slave to it. And most people already crossed it. I know very few people that they have iPhone 4. It's the same function with a little bit of a small screen. Big deal. No, so I'm just throwing an example because a lot of people look at me like, oh no, he's not talking about me. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Because I'm talking about myself too. The thing is that we are slaves to materialism. Even little things. Why can't you eat like, a regular bagel? You have to eat a whole $40 breakfast. You can do just the same with a little bit of grapes. So the reality is that we are also slave to this materialism, to this chomer. And the last thing is that it says, ba'avoda kasha v'chomer ulvenim, hard work, materialism, and bricks. So yeah, maybe they were carrying bricks at the time, but we're also carrying bricks. And a brick is something that burdens you. If you carry now a whole box of bricks, it's not an easy job. Look at the guys who work in construction. That's a hard job, carrying bricks all day long. So we're also carrying bricks, and these bricks are these burdens that they're putting a burden on me. It can be my little kids that it's hard for me to educate them, and they're all wild. Just today I was in the shul. This poor father, this 4-year-old, was jumping up and down, throwing things, pushing people, going and taking people's yarmulkes off. Sorry. You can't even imagine, like this little wild kid. And I see the father, he's already overwhelmed. He doesn't even know what to do with himself. And I'm just stuck observing from the side, and I'm like this, it's a kid. Nowadays, unfortunately, you see a kid like this right away. Here, give him pills, relax him. Everybody's, drugging everybody. A kid is a little bit hyper. Yeah, give him Ritalin, make him numb. But that's besides the point. But the fathers, I see the father overwhelmed. He can't even pray. And I'm thinking, what a good husband. He took the boy away from the wife. So the wife will have a little bit of time away, but he's driving him crazy and he's making the whole shul a mess. So that's a burden. That's a brick. That's something that puts burden on a person. When he sees the child with some type of an issue. Sometimes a person from the family is sick and you see the person suffering and it puts a burden on you. Sometimes, the landlord is knocking and says, hey, you didn't pay for 3 months. That's a burden. Constantly we have these burdens. My credit card bills shows up in the morning in the email. Oi, how am I going to pay this now? Constantly we have these burdens that we're like carrying bricks. So King Solomon, the wisest man in history, said, "Ma shaya hu sheyeh." What was, will be. En chadash tachat hashemesh. There's nothing new under the sun. Besides it now, we just have cars and we look a little bit different and different clothes. Nothing changed for 4,000 years. So we're also slaves. We're in a state of limitation. The only problem is that we don't realize that we're slaves. And we don't realize that we are trapped in this shell. In Hebrew it's called klipa. Klipa is a husk. Klipa is also you take like an orange. It has a peel. So the peel is not edible. It's disgusting. You can't eat the peel of an orange. But it's covering, what does it do? It's covering the orange. It's protecting the orange. So this is klipa in Hebrew. So we are stuck in this spiritual energy that is called klipa. that we create it with our own actions, but it's covering over us. Of course, it's spiritual, you don't feel it. Some people are sensitive and they do feel it. But what it does, it's numbing us spiritually. And when a person does another sin and another sin and another sin, our sins create this husk. What happens is you take now a lamp and put a lampshade on it, a lampshade, that it dims the light. Then you take, let's say, a towel, put it on the lampshade, will dim the light even more. Then you take a thick blanket, you put it over, it will dim the light even more. After a couple layers, no light. Now the lampshade is still shining inside, but you don't see it because it's covered with so many layers. So our soul is shining in our body, but it's covered with thousands and thousands of these layers. From every time that I do something negative, I create one of these layers. I lie, a little layer. I cheat, a little layer. I curse, another layer. I'm not talking about like big sins now. I'm talking about, even though what I just said now are big sins. Lying is a very big sin. It's one of the 10 commandments. We're not allowed to lie. It's a severe sin. The damage that is caused by a lie is unbelievable. All day long, and we're all liars. Like, don't look at me like, oh, he's not talking about me. We're all liars. We lie all day long. The thing is that we're constantly doing these negative acts, and we're covering our soul. Constantly we're covering our soul with these layers. Now what's the result, basically? It doesn't mean that we're a mean person, or it makes us a bad person. Rather, our soul starts getting covered and covered and covered, to a point that the same analogy with the lamp is shining from inside, but it's not shining outside because there's too many lampshades. Now what happens is that I lose my sensitivity to spirituality. That's why you walk now in the street, you grab a person from the street and you'll tell him, you want to put tefillin on? Leave me alone. Grab a person and tell him, you want to come for a Shabbat meal? It's Shabbat. Going to a party. You tell a person, come and do an act of kindness. Come, we need a minyan. Leave me alone. It's not that that person is bad. It's just the lamp is covered. There's no light. There's no sensitivity to spirituality. You tell that person, come, learn Torah, do a mitzvah. I know it's nonsense. Anything that you approach that has to do with Kedusha, right away you see this anti. And again, it doesn't mean the person is bad. He can be a very nice and kind person. But there's too many of these klipot, these husks, these layers. Now what happens is when the person is becoming very, very far away from its source, then it's ruled by this klipa. The klipa is like a negative energy. I like calling it a spiritual infection. Because you take now a physical infection, it starts a little area and it starts multiplying. The bacteria is multiplying. So the same thing in the spiritual infection. You do one bad act and then it starts multiplying. Our sages say, mitzvah goreret mitzvah. A mitzvah will make you do another mitzvah, but avera goreret avera. A sin will make you do another sin. And the easiest example is you say a lie, there's no one lie. Lying has cousins and brothers. You start with the first lie, you have to come up already with the second lie. Because if not, then you're stuck. So one lie makes you lie 15 times. And then you're in a broch, because it's already too many generations, you don't even know how, what did I say? What did I say? You see a person on the street, what did I tell him? I don't even remember what I said. So you see how avera goreret avera. And you start one thing, it allows you to do another thing. The point what it does is that it pushes you away from your source and it dims the light of your soul. So you become not a bad person, you're just separated from your source and you operate based on this spiritual klipa, this energy, instead of operating based on your soul. Your soul guides you. If you have a very good connection to your soul, the soul is the best GPS, the best, because the soul knows everything. Any question you have, any doubt you have, any problem you have, just communicate with the soul. This is called, in the modern term, it's called meditation. But, the Indians, they didn't invent meditation. We have the whole topic of meditation in the Torah. Maybe it has different names. We'll call it hitbodedut, or hitbonenut, or hashkata, or different terminology. But that's a type of meditation. And when I meditate, I'm able to communicate with my soul. My soul will guide me. My soul is my GPS. Because my soul is connected to God 100%. Doesn't matter what I'm going to do, it's connected to God. I can turn the whole world around. I can be the biggest atheist. It's still connected to God. I cannot get rid of it. I might be able to cut different layers of it or components of the soul to lose a little bit of the reception, but I'm always connected to my master. I'm always connected to my source. And if I strengthen that connection and I make a connection with my soul, that's my guide. And that's where people lose their inner happiness and their inner peace, because they're operating in a very external way. Everything in the world has an external part to it. Here in Hebrew it's called chitzoniut, and it has also an internal part of it, and this is called pnimiut. Everything has both the internal and the external. If you're constantly looking at the external, then it's a very superficial and thin layer. If you want to go to the depth of everything, you always go to the pnimiut, to the surface, to the core of things. Now, if you're operating just on the external part, then you're not deriving from its source. That's why when we're looking for different satisfactions, and if you're going in a very external way, so you'll go to a movie, so you're happy for 2 hours. And then you'll go to a vacation, so you're happy for 2 weeks. And then you buy a new car, so you're happy for a month. And then you're a little bit sad, so I'll buy a chocolate bar. Whatever, you constantly are after these little instant gratifications. It's like a high, and then I'm back down. I'm tired, I take a shot of espresso, I'm a little bit up for a few minutes, and I'm down again. Why? Because this is all external. And when I'm trying to feed my soul with external things, it will never be happy, because my soul doesn't care about coffee or chocolate or vacation. And what will make me happy or sad is only my soul. If a person thinks that anything in the physical world will make him happy, he's lying to himself, and it's the biggest mistake ever. Yeah, a nice car will make you happy, but that's not the real happiness. And anything physical, you'll go on a vacation, which vacations are good, but it's very instant, it's very short, and then the vacation is over, and where did it go? It's good, you have to take vacations, but that's not what's going to make me happy. The only thing that's going to make me happy is only my soul. And if you want to compare it to the physical world, look at adults and look at kids. Kids are the ultimate example for everything. Kids have no shame, they have no block on their mouth, they say whatever they want, they're not politically correct, they want to sleep, they'll slouch on the floor and they'll sleep, they'll do whatever they want. They have to go to the bathroom, they just take the pants off. Because a kid, he's operating in a very deep level. If you look at your kids, kids came to educate us. We think we come to educate the kids. No, we just came to pay the bills. They came to educate us, and if I'm smart, I look at my kid, and my kid, since it's coming from me, has the entire recipe of what I need to work on. One kid is going to annoy me to death, I have to work on patience. One kid is, I don't know what, is the complete opposite of me, I have to work on my, a different attribute. But if I'm smart, I look at my kids and I learn what's wrong with me and what I need to work on. My kids are so precise. Look what makes a kid happy. Give now a $100,000 check to a kid and put on the other hand a lollipop. He's not going to even look at the check. He's going to take the lollipop. A 20-cent lollipop, because it's red and it does, a nice sound when you touch the wrapper. He grabs that. He doesn't look at a piece of paper. It doesn't have value even for the money. And what makes the kid happy is something simple. Why? Because he has this inner gratification, because it's yummy to him. A kid doesn't analyze things. He does instincts. So the same thing with me. I think that $100,000 will make me happy. No, that's not what's going to make me happy. It might pay the bills and will make my mind a little more ease, because I don't have to worry. But it's not going to give me happiness. What's going to give me happiness is this lollipop that's going to taste good to my soul. So my only happiness is only coming from spiritual things. And any person that will constantly run after physical gratifications, it's like a drug. You take it, it will numb everything for a couple minutes or hours, and then it's back. That's the problem when I said before with the kids. The kid is a little bit wild. Right away they give him a pill. This is the worst system ever. It's the biggest mistake. Instead of dealing with the problem, they deal with the symptom. So here, I'll numb you down. A person has a headache, 99% of the population of the world will have a headache. They'll go to the medicine cabinet and take an Advil. You know what it does? It numbs the nerves. That's what it does. It doesn't deal with anything. It numbs your nerves so you don't have a headache for 2 hours. That's it. Instead of that, say, why am I have a headache? Maybe I'm dehydrated. Maybe I didn't eat today. Maybe I have to sleep a little bit. Maybe I was exposed to too much radiation the whole day. Instead of that, I'm taking a pill. So what did I do here? I numbed my problem. I didn't look at the problem. Why am I getting a headache right now? You're driving the car now and the red light goes on. You don't take a pill. You're looking at the red light. Oh, I'm missing oil. I'm missing gas. I'm missing air in the tire. You don't ignore the wire. You ignore the light. You ignore the lights. The car will stop. So my body is giving me signals all the time. I have a headache. Something's wrong in my system. And instead of numbing it with a pill, then I have to say, wait a minute, why am I getting a headache? Why am I getting a stomach ache? Why am I getting here a rash? If I'm getting here a rash, it means that there's some type of poison trying to come out of my body. And today what they do, put a cream. And the rash disappears. Because instead of dealing with the problem, it pushes the poison back into the body. So instead of the rash will disappear here, it will show up here. If something, my body is constantly reacting to things. If I have a rash coming out, it means that the poisons are trying to come out of my body. They're not coming through the urine. They're not coming out through my sweat. They're not coming out through any other natural way. So it's coming out as a rash. So I have to make my calculations. Wait a minute, something's going on. Instead of putting a cream right away. So it's the same thing in the spiritual level. Something comes. I'm dealing with something. So instead of going to the core and saying, why am I dealing right now with this problem? Then we try to numb it right away with something physical. Not too long ago I talked to somebody and I told him, you should study more Torah. And he's like, listen, my day is so busy and I have a business and when I come home I just need to wind down a little bit and watch a movie. And I told him, you think that the movie is what's going to make you wind down and relax and all the pressure will go away? No. Sit and learn Torah that hour. Not only that you're going to be wind down, you're going to be inspired, you're going to be enlightened, you're going to be energized, and you're going to be in a completely different level. Here you're numbing yourself. Like you're hypnotized on a screen. Doesn't do anything. You think it does something. No, I need to wind down. I said, okay, read 15 minutes Torah. Trust me, not only you're going to be wind down, you're going to be hyped up. It's just we're dealing with the wrong medicine. And we totally ignore the fact that everything that's showing up on the surface, it's because it's coming from the inside. Same thing like a headache, and same thing like the rash, or same thing like anything. It's coming from inside. I can choose to ignore it, and I can choose to analyze why right now I'm not happy. Why right now I'm depressed. Why right now I'm disappointed. Why right now I'm sad and I don't feel like getting out of bed. Or whatever it is. I'm just throwing different examples. We're all dealing with something. Everybody, if you want to be true to yourself, that's why I said before that we all lie all day long, because we constantly lie to people. One time, not too long ago, was Yom Kippur, and I came home, Yom Kippur, I don't go home, it's all day long, I'm in the shul, so I come home, and I sit with my wife, and we drink our tea, and we eat a cookie, and I ask her, how was your day? And how was your day? And I tell her, no, what's your achlata, what's your resolution? Oh, I decided to do this, I decided to do that. So she tells me, what's yours? So I told her, I decided to stop to lie this year. She told me, you? You don't lie? I said, yeah, I lie. She was like, you lie? I'm like, yeah, I lie every day, I lie. You're late for a meeting? Oh, don't ask. There was so much traffic. Just say that you didn't wake up. You just lied. And all day long we lie. I told my wife, yeah, I lie. I'm busy, I can't, I'm here, I'm there. Just say it how it is. I cannot see you right now. Say it how it is. So I told my wife, yeah, maybe I don't go lie all day long and cheat people. But if I lie, there's no such a thing, a white lie, a big lie, a small lie. A lie is a lie. And you know who you lie to the most? Yourself. To the Kadosh Baruch Hu you can't lie. Kadosh Baruch Hu knows everything, He knows your thoughts, He knows everything. You can't lie to God. But most people, they lie to themselves. Now, if you want to be honest with yourself, then you look in the mirror every morning and you say, come on, let's cut to the chase here. Who am I kidding? Now, if you don't lie to yourself, eventually you're going to stop lying to other people. And lying is a real bad trait. And I mean, a lot of people tell me, what are the worst sins? They're thinking I'm going to tell them killing, raping. I mean, this is bad sins. Let's concentrate on the little things, what you can handle. Lying is a very big thing, because you create a reality that doesn't exist. And there's only one reality, and that reality is God. And with the reality of God comes His Torah and mitzvot, and the existence of the universe based on the Torah. And if I start lying and making a different existence and a different reality, then I'm basically taking myself to a road with a dead end. Or, chas v'shalom, with a pit at the end. There's nothing going to come out of it. So it all boils down to the same thing. When I really sit down with myself, whether it's at the end of the day, whether it's at the end of the day when I'm in the shower, in bed, in traffic, and I'm sitting with myself and I ask myself the $1 million question, am I really happy? Am I really happy? Was my day really successful today? I don't measure my success today as how much money I made in the business. I measure my day if I achieved something today. Did I grow to a better level this day? Was I a better father today? Was I a better husband today? Was I a better Eved Hashem? Did I serve Hashem how He wants me, not how I want to? My raf, how successful my day was, is what did I achieve? I mean, if I woke up in the morning and I open my eyes and we say, Modeh ani lefanecha, I thank God for bringing me back another day. The ones that say Modeh ani, 90% of them, they don't even know what they're saying. They're just blah, 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 blah. You don't stop for 1 second and say, wait a minute. You know what it means? Modeh ani lefanecha. I thank you, my master. Just look at the last words. Bechemla rabba emunatecha. Emunatecha means that the Kadosh Baruch Hu believes in me. I woke up in the morning, Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I believe in you. I have trust in you. I'm giving you another day. Let's see now what you're going to do with your day. So when I wake up in the morning, and if I'm realizing that, wait a minute, hey, I'm back. I didn't stay up there tonight. Means I have to do something here today. Yeah, I have to do my basic things, shower, eat, work. This is basic things. But I have an agenda today. And at the end of the day, if I didn't reach to my agenda, that's what's going to make me unhappy. Because wait a minute, I was hired today. I'm under a contract. If I work for somebody and at the end of the day I didn't deliver the job, I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to get fired. I'm going to lose the contract. If I have a deadline, the guy says, listen, I need it by tomorrow. You're not giving it by tomorrow. I have to go somewhere else. So in this world, I work under pressure. I work till 2 o'clock in the morning to finish the deadline. But the Kadosh Baruch Hu also gives me deadlines. He's telling me, hey, I hired you first. You have to do this, and this. So my happiness is measured by what I'm giving to my soul, not what physically I was able to achieve. At some point it does merge. I mean, we are in a physical world and we have to be part of the physical world. But the reality is that what will make me happy and satisfied and content and excited and all these good things is only my soul. If I deprive my soul from what it needs to get, then it will start nagging me. If you're now not going to eat for 6 hours, then your stomach is going to start hurting you. And after 8 hours, you get a headache. And after 10 hours, you get a little bit dizzy. And after 12 hours, you're sick. And after a whole day, you feel like fainting already. Because you're not giving your body what it needs. Don't sleep now for 2-3 days. Your body will start reacting. You start not giving your body certain things, it will start reacting. So you deprive your soul from certain things, your soul will start reacting. So if you don't give your soul what it needs, it will start screaming from inside, hello? What about me? So a person is unhappy, he's looking for everything. I'm not happy because my wife annoyed me and my boss is not giving me a raise and somebody bumped into my car and this is not working out and I'm trying to figure out why I'm not happy and I'm blaming everybody in the world. It's her fault, it's his fault, it's her fault. I didn't do anything, I'm perfect. Everybody's fault, that's why I'm unhappy. The point is that between me and my soul there's a layer, there's a screen like a mechitza, and this is called an ego. And if I let my ego separate me and my soul, then I'm always right. I deserve everything. Everybody's wrong. I'm the smart one. Nobody knows what they're talking about. But then I'm separating my own soul, my common sense, with my ego and my external being. And then again, I'm unhappy. I start pointing out where is this unhappiness, where this problem is coming from. Instead of going to the symptom and to the problem, I'm looking around and finding who to blame. So the reality is that, unfortunately, we all have this little burden in our heart that is annoying us all day long. And unfortunately, some of us have 10 of them, 20 of them. And then one gets solved, 2 new ones come. But we're constantly having these problems that we deal with. And when a person wants to solve this problem, he has to reach deep down into his neshama to be 100% honest with himself and say, maybe I'm unhappy here because I'm doing this and I'm wrong. You know, the other day, somebody, I'm not going to say who, he's going to recognize, but somebody went through a very hard couple of days. I know he's going to be seeing it, that's why I don't want to give too much details. He was going through a very hard couple of days, and then he came and he kept saying, I don't know why is Hashem doing it to me, why is God doing it to me? And then I didn't say anything, and then after a couple of days he's like, I know why. I know why I disrespected somebody, and I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And it's not that God is punishing me, but you do a certain action, and you get a reaction. And a lot of people have a mistake. They think that you do something, God punishes you. This is a concept, you know, a third grade teacher punishes. If you don't talk, then the third grade teacher will punish you. God doesn't punish people. People think God is sitting in the heavens on a big chair with a long beard and giving orders. God doesn't punish anyone. God stands on the side and He says, you do an action, then you're going to get a reaction. If you take now a stone and you throw it at the window will break. You did a stupid action, now deal with the problem. You're going to have to pay for the window, you're going to have to sweep the mess. That's it. You now take your head, bang it at the wall. You did a foolish action, you're going to have a reaction. You're going to have a headache. You can't blame the wall, you can't blame your head, you can't blame anything. Blame yourself. You did an action. Same thing in this world. This is how the world works. You throw something to the universe will throw it right back at you. You do something positive, it will come back to you. You do something negative, it will come back to you. That's it. God doesn't punish anyone. Somebody sent me not too long ago a video that's running around the internet that you see like a chain reaction, that a person helps somebody, and then he goes and somebody helps him, and then he goes, and it's like a chain reaction of how one helps another. You know that video I'm talking about? I see you all nodding. That's how it is. You do a good action, right away you get this reaction. So if I'm getting a bad reaction, if I'm getting a headache or a rash, that's my reaction. Something's happening. Something's now bothering me. That's a reaction. I have to sit and say, wait a minute, what did I do? What's my action that caused this reaction? It's not a punishment. People tell me, how do I know the difference between a punishment and a test? I say, what do you think, God is waiting all day long in Shemaim to punish you? No, just look at your thing. Look what you're doing. That's why, our sages told us every night before you go to sleep, you do tshuva, read Kriyat Shema L'Amita. Kriyat Shema L'Amita is not just reading a bunch of letters and reading the text. It's sitting for 5 minutes and saying, let me do my account. What did I do today? A business owner, when he closed the day, he counts the money. I never saw one business owner that leaves the day and does not count his money in the cashier. Well, he counts it 3 times to make sure that it wasn't a mistake. Why? I want to see how much I made today. And the ones who are more into it, how much I sell, what's my inventory, how much I have to do, what I have to already prepare for tomorrow. So you sit at the end of the day and you count your register. What did I do today? How many mitzvot did I do? Did I pray today? Did I give charity today? Did I learn Torah? Maybe I hurt somebody's feelings. Maybe I owe somebody money. You make an account. 5 minutes. That's all it takes. You don't have to sit on your bed. When it says Kriyat Shema L'Amita, it means right before you go to bed. You don't have to sit on your bed with a teddy bear. And the point is that if you live your life like that, that at the end of the day you make an account, you don't need to wait for Yom Kippur. I don't know how people think that they do tshuva on Yom Kippur. How can you make tshuva on one day for what you did an entire year? I don't remember what I did last month. How can I remember what I did 11 months ago? Okay, I'll remember maybe one big thing that I did. How can I remember what I did a week ago? Yom Kippur is like the finish of the process. But once a month we have Rosh Chodesh, so we do once a month we do tshuva for the entire month. And then once every week, Erev Shabbat, Friday, women before they light the candles, men before they go to pray, you sit and you do tshuva for the entire week. This is an auspicious time. It's called an Et Ratzon. And then you do tshuva once a day. You sit on your bed. You don't have to do a whole ceremony out of it. Sit for 2 minutes on your bed. You know, some people, you write on a note. And I have, a plan. You go now to the gym and you want to get in shape. The trainer gives you a plan. He doesn't tell you, okay, come tomorrow, let's do some push-ups. No, tomorrow you're doing this, the next day you do this. You have a plan. Anything that you want to be successful in business, doesn't matter what, you need a plan. If you don't have a plan, you'll never be successful in anything. Same thing with Avodat Hashem. You need a plan. Okay, this is what I can do this week. This is what I'm going to do next week. This is what I do the following week. So you sit at the end of the day and you do tshuva. Where am I holding? Maybe I insulted somebody. I'll go and apologize. Maybe I owe somebody money. Maybe I did something wrong. And you live like that. You constantly, Torah says, "V'bi'arta hara mikirbecha." You constantly move the bad out of you. You're sifting the bad out because you're constantly aware of these little things that you do. Sometimes you hurt somebody's feelings. And the thing is, that 3-4 days pass, you forget about it. It's friends. We always joke. You hurt his feelings. Now, when it's fresh in your mind, if you're honest enough with yourself, saying, it wasn't really right. I have to go and apologize. Even though I don't want to do it, I have to go and say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Or whatever. I'm just giving you one example out of many. I always give the same example that one time I come home and my wife tells me, just that we owe the neighbor $40 because I didn't have cash to pay the cleaning lady, so I took the money from the cleaning lady, from the neighbor. So I told her, okay, go right now and pay her the $40. She was like, it's 10 o'clock at night, I'll do it tomorrow. I was like, no, do it now. Because tomorrow you're going to wake up in the morning, you have 6 kids to worry about, you're going to be busy, you're going to forget, with the action of the entire day in your life. And then a day will pass, and another day will pass, and another day will pass. You'll forget you owe her $40, and she'll see you every time in the hall and be like, she owes me the $40. She never paid it back. And it's not about the money, it's about the fact that you didn't pay it back. And it's going to make such a snowball, because she's going to have anger towards you. Then, chas v'shalom, she starts gossiping with all the neighbors. She owes me $40. I gave her $40, she didn't pay it back. And what's going to happen is, you think you're going to remember in Yom Kippur to say sorry? You think you're going to remember you owe her money? $40. What's $40 between? I babysit your kids every day. Told her, you go pay it right now. And if you don't want to knock on the door 10 o'clock at night, then put the $40 in an envelope and put it on her door, or put it on your desk that tomorrow morning you give it to her right away. And we constantly forget these things. That there's a concept in Judaism, it's called a neder, a vow. And some people, they have a very good nature. Everything they tell you, bli neder. Bli neder. I don't promise anything. Because constantly we're giving these vows, these neders. And to say something and not to do it, to desecrate a vow, that's a very bad sin, by the way. People don't realize, they think a big sin is killing. Saying something and not doing it, that's not doing a neder. That's bad. You know how I saw it a few years ago, I was in a shul, and the gabbai goes up and starts selling the aliyot. Everybody's 100, 200, to raise the hand doesn't cost money. And then I was like, I told the gabbai, who writes down what they have, what they give? He's like, whoever gives. I said, are you out of your mind? If a person says, Pamayim chai. That's it, it's a neder. If he doesn't pay it, He's going to have a serious problem now. Because he said, Pa'amayim Chai. And I told him, it's your responsibility to go and tell him, you vowed for $36. You got to pay it. And that's the problem, that people say, it's the same thing even with little things. If you put now money in a charity box, if the charity box has a name on it, you have to give that money to that person, to that organization. Some people use it, as their change box. They borrow money, they take money out. It's not your money. Once you put it in the box, that's it, it's not yours. I'm giving you different examples because people don't realize how sometimes something so small is something so huge. Just yesterday we read in the parasha, and it's Rashi said it's the mitzvot that a person is like, it's not so important. You put now a penny in a box, in a charity box, and it has the name of the organization, you owe that penny to that place. You can't take it out. It's not yours. You're not allowed to take the money out. People break their bills. If you're taking 4 quarters out, you have to put $1 in. That's fine. You can't start mixing money. And so we're constantly saying, I'll pick you up at 5. You say, I'll pick you up at 5, you better be there at 5. You said a neder. I'm not joking. And if you think that you might not make it, I'll try. I don't promise. I'll do my best to be there at 5. And if I'm late, you text. I'm late. I'm going to be late. I'm sorry. I was stuck in traffic. But you give a text. I can't make it. I'm going to be late. The point is that every little act that we do, you don't have to have a long beard and a big yarmulke to follow the Torah. The Torah, this is exactly what we learned yesterday in the weekly parsha. You have to be particular with the little things. That's where you're impressing God. You do not impress God with a 2-foot long beard. That's a whole different thing. God wants to see how you're behaving with each other. If you're honest, if you're truthful, if you're paying attention to these little things. And you know what? All these little things, these are the things that really fill these little holes in your heart that causes all this sadness. Because really, between our soul to God, there's a rope that connects us to God. And the same way that a physical rope is built from strings, little strings, then the spiritual rope is built from 620 strings. This is said in the Zohar by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And these 620 strings correspond to 613 mitzvot we have in the Torah, and 7 mitzvot that we got by our sages. Now, if I do everything the Torah tells me, then I have a perfect optic cable. Perfect. All these wires are connected. And if I start cutting them, so if I cut 30, 40, 50 out of 620, it's not so bad. But I start losing connection. I don't know if you remember, you're older. 20 years ago when the internet started, you remember the connection? It was dial-up. You would hook the computer, you would make this noise, and then it would take you 10 minutes to send an email. You would send an email, and you would sit. You see that thing turning around, 10 minutes to send it. No, who cares? Because it would take 2 hours to stand in line in the post office, 10 minutes to sit in front of the screen. You would wait for the email to come. Now, there wasn't such a thing as streaming videos. Who would see some videos? An email will take you 10 days. Why? Because the connection was a dial-up. Dial-up, it means that it was riding on a phone line. So the connection was very, very thin, very narrow, so the transfer of the data was very slow. Now we're sitting on optic cables, 3G, 4G. You stream a video in a second. If the email is not responding within a second and a half, what's going on here? Why? Because the connection is wide. Why is it wide? Because it's running on an optic cable. Look how an optic cable looks. It's this big cable and has many, many wires in it. Optic. It's not like a real wire. So we have an optic cable connecting us to God. Now, if I have a very strong connection, then my channels are clean. Everything is running well. I start chopping off these channels, then I lose my connection. Then it will take me 10 minutes to send an email. So it will take me time to realize what's going on. I'm not going to get my sustenance, because God is the source of life. God is not an old man in Shamayim with a long beard. God is the source of life. And He's giving me everything that I need through these channels. One channel will give me my livelihood. One channel will give me happiness. One channel will give me health. One channel will give me common sense. One channel will give me serenity. Every channel is going to give me something. And these channels are built or damaged by mitzvot and sins. If I do the mitzvot, then I build these channels. I start doing sins, I start cutting these channels. That's it. That's how the system works. You follow the guide, everything will be fine. The problem is that I constantly look at the external part. The point is that constantly to look at the internal part. And where maybe I'm damaging some of my channels. Maybe I'm lacking something. If I'm lacking something inside that is bothering me, then I have to look in the spiritual level, what am I depriving my soul? Why is my soul not happy? I know people, they have zero money in the bank, a rundown car, nothing works in the house, everything is run down, and they're the most happy people in the world. They have like these old phones that, that they flip open. They're happy, everything's good. Simple. Why? They don't need anything physical. Where I live, everybody's simple. Why? Because the real happiness comes from the soul. And ultimately, we're all looking for happiness. Like, why do you want all these physical things? Because you think it's going to make you happy. You think. I mean, if you backtrack. I know a person who's a lawyer. And I asked him once, why did you choose to become a lawyer? Oh, yeah, he didn't have an answer. I said, try to analyze. I'm very curious. Why did you want to be a lawyer? So he says, because I wanted to have a lot of money. So I was looking which trade will give me a lot of money. So I said, okay, lawyers make a lot of money. I was like, oh, so you didn't want to be a lawyer. You just want to have a lot of money. He says, yeah. And I was like, okay, why did you want to have a lot of money? I wanted to have a nice house and a nice car. He says, oh, you didn't want a lot of money. You wanted a nice car. So the money gets the car. I was like, okay, so why did you want a nice car? Oh, because, you can get a girlfriend with a nice car. So, oh, so you wanted a girlfriend. You didn't want the car or the money or lawyer. So we sometimes there's a cause and an effect, and sometimes I want something and I go through the 10 different paths and stops to get what I want, but that's my real will. My will is this, and I go now on a journey to fulfill my will. And then I find myself on the other side of the world with a job that I hate, or with something, because I don't even know how I got here. I don't even know where I started. Oh, I started 10 years ago wanting this, and then I went to look how to get it. The point is that we're walking here like blind bats. We don't really see what's going on, because the physical world is guiding me. The billboards are guiding me. The community, everything around me is guiding me, and not my soul. That's why I said the soul is the best GPS. You look inside your soul, the soul will tell you everything, where you have to live, where you have to work, who you have to marry, how to eat, everything. The soul will tell you everything. The soul knows everything, because it's connected to God, and it sees everything. It's like an officer, like a general sitting in the war room. The general sees everything, and then they start giving messages to the colonel, and then the colonel to whatever, I don't know the names in English, but they go all the grades till the soldier gets an order to do something. The soul sits up in Shamayim and it sees everything. And then it starts trickling it down into you. And if you have a good connection, you start seeing things the right way. You realize things, you understand things, you're more receptive, you see the truth, and you operate according to that. And then you realize that the candy that has a lot of sugar and a beautiful color, it maybe tastes good in the beginning, but then it gives you a stomach ache. And the carrot that looks real boring and tasteless, that's what's going to give you the nutrition. That's what's going to give you the energy. So unfortunately, our life is covered with candies. You take now to a kid to a candy store, and then at the same time you'll take him to a greengrocer, a vegetable place. Tell him, where do you want to eat? Ooh, this is horrible, these things here. I want to go there where all the lollies are. Because the colors make them crazy. But really what gives them the nutrition is the fruit, the vegetables, the real food. Same with us. We just need to know how to make the analogy. And when I come to understand that everything operates through my soul, and how am I feeding my soul, and how am I aligning my soul to its source, everything falls through with it. That's why you see a lot of people that they're real spiritual, and spiritual doesn't mean to sit on the floor and do yoga. That's not spiritual. Spiritual is when you're connecting yourself to the master of the universe according to his way, People, they invent all sorts of spiritualities. So it's nice to do yoga, but that's not spiritual. Spiritual is reading what the Torah says, and the Torah tells you how to be spiritual. Spiritual means you're connecting to a spiritual level. But when a person taps himself into that channel, then he's operating in a totally different level. And then the happiness comes from within and not from the outside. And that's what we need to concentrate, is how am I tapping into my inner source to pull out the real happiness in my soul. Not what the little things around me. The little things will fall through. If I have to make money, God is going to make sure that I'm making money. If I'm not supposed to make money, it doesn't matter what I'm going to do, I'm never going to make the money. I have a friend for 5 years. He was investing anything he could, sleeping 2 hours a night. The business did not work out. And he did everything. He took all the courses, all the mentors, everything. Thousands of dollars, loans, everything. At some point I told him, don't you get it? Don't you get that you're not supposed to make money in this business? Just stop already. No, I learned a new course and I knew this and marketing and schmarketing, and told him, didn't you get the point? This is not going to work for you. You're beating a dead horse. Just leave it. It's not supposed to happen. Sometimes you see it with relationships. They break up and get together. Break up, get together. She's not your other half. Just leave it alone already. Move on. The point is that everything starts and originates in the inner part, in the pnimiyut, and then it will go out to the external. And if I'm annulling myself to what's inside, by default, everything will fall into place. I'll meet whoever I'm supposed to meet. I'll marry whoever I'm supposed to marry. The business that I'm supposed to have will make as much as money that I'm supposed to make. I'm not going to make $1 more than what I'm supposed to get. And then I live my life in a more eased and relaxed way, because I don't try to get things. I just walk on the path that I need to walk on, and things will just happen as they're supposed to happen. Needless to say, I don't have to go through this turmoil of problems of dealing with everything. Because if I think a certain individual is my other half, and I'm constantly pursuing this relationship, and if it's not my other half, I'll be depressed, I'll be sad, I'll be disappointed, constantly fighting, constantly problems, because it's not the right person. So I'm running after some illusion that doesn't even exist. Instead of taking a step back and saying, that's not my other half even. Why am I wasting my time here? Let me move on. And it can be in a relationship, can be in business, can be in anything. So the point to take from this short shiur is that concentrate on the pnimiyut, on the inner source. Concentrate on your soul. Try to figure out what your soul needs. The soul talks to you. It's part of you. It's in your mind. You're constantly talking with yourself. Part of this, there's different voices in your mind. But one of the voices is your soul talking to you. I mean, we constantly have these arguments in our mind. But we have different entities. We have a Yetzer Hara that comes and starts talking. We have an animal soul, but we also have our soul, and you can easily recognize it, because the animal soul and the Yetzer Hara will constantly try to pull you away from the Kadosh Baruch Hu and away from the Torah. And your soul is the one who's going to tell you to go closer to the Torah. Go pray now in a minyan. Give that person a little bit of money, help him. Take that person for a ride, he needs your help. Help this, do that. That's the indication. The Yetzer Hara is not going to come and tell you, hey, let's go to a minyan and learn 2 hours of Torah. The Yetzer Hara is not going to tell you to do that. Le'efech, it's going to incite you to do the complete opposite. So if you listen to your soul, you get all the guides that you need. And when you connect yourself 100% to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, then even when bad things happen, you don't see it as a bad thing. You just see it as part of the process. Now something bad happens to you, you think Hashem is punishing you. A person who's connected to his source, something not positive happens in his life, they understand that's part of the process. I have to go through it. Same thing like you have a person does chas v'shalom an operation. The operation is positive because the person will be cured and healed, but the operation might hurt. And the injection will hurt. And the couple days of healing will hurt. But then the person is healthy again. It's like having a cavity. Who wants to go to the dentist? The injection hurts, everything hurts, but it's a good process. So in this world, there is the concept that sometimes to get to something good, has to go through something bad. This is the nature of the world. Look now you take now a seed. Take now a seed and put it here on the table, nothing's going to happen to it. You can water it, you can dance, you can sing, nothing's going to happen. Put it now in the ground. first thing that has to happen, it completely rots, and then it sprouts. So the nature of this world is to destroy something before something new happens. So sometimes we have to go through negative things in this world. We just see it as a negative things. We don't see it as a process. One might say, it can take you 5 hours to make a meal that takes you 10 minutes to eat. That's an annoying process to some people. Some people like cooking, so they think it's fine. I don't like cooking. For me, to peel potatoes for 2 hours, that's a bad thing. It's annoying. So I have to eat for 10 minutes. It can take me 5 hours to cook a meal. Almost anything that I do, there's always going to be some bad involved in it. I want to get in shape. I can't just go into the gym and look at the mirror and I'll get in shape. I have to work hard. I have to sweat. My muscles will hurt me. So there's always the process of something a little bit negative here. So when negative things happen into my life, if I'm connected to my source, I don't see it as negative. I see it as part of the process. It doesn't affect me, doesn't disappoint me, doesn't bring me down, doesn't make me depressed. It's part of the journey. But the point is to pinpoint and to find and to concentrate what's the point where my soul wants me to do what it needs to do, and that's it. And by that, if I constantly focus on that and I constantly work according to what the Torah tells me, and I make sure that I don't step over the world and hurting people's feelings and stealing and cheating and all these things, slowly I'm building this path and this connection, and guarantee that that's how you find your real inner happiness and your inner peace. B'ezrat Hashem, we should all have the merit and the power and the knowledge and the awareness to get closer to our source. So we'll be able to make our life a better place. By default, when my life is a better place and my entire family gets affected from that, my entire neighborhood, the community, and ultimately the entire world. B'ezrat Hashem, that's how we're going to reach the ultimate happiness, which is going to be when Mashiach is going to come very soon. And then we have nothing bad, all good. No wars, no problems, no envy, no hate, no diseases. We don't need lawyers anymore. We don't need doctors anymore. A lot of people are going to be unemployed, and B'ezrat Hashem, we sit and we serve our Master. So B'ezrat Hashem, we should merit to that to happen very soon. B'ezrat Hashem, we should all be blessed with an abundance of happiness and health and success and clarity, and your soul should guide you exactly where you need to go to. And it should happen b'chesed v'rachamim, and B'ezrat Hashem should happen speedy in our days. Thank you very much.